Hi and welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, and where we're going to tell you about what's happened with the last one standing. It's always very difficult, and Budge, the people who've been on the Liverpool now must be ruining it, thinking everyone's got a lump on them now.
Well, I've got to say Liverpool supporters, except those in the last one standing competition, Paul, but relegation decided on Monday, but no, they have taken out, I think it was 175 and 83. So
yeah, just looking at the numbers here, and Liverpool 84, so it's 211 of 383. So it's really dropping at alarming rate. Obviously, it doesn't get easier.
No,
it doesn't get easier. Just the previous competition, they're both still going. Gary Citron.
Paul, they both had 7 picks left, and West Ham was the obvious choice. I'm going to speak to both Gary Citron, Alan Costa tomorrow, just to see which way they're both looking at, and then you'll make a decision. Maybe we'll have a playoff, we'll pick 5 games, and they can make decisions. But I'll speak to the guys, Paul Liaise, but let's see what they pick this round.
Who are West Ham playing?
West Ham, they got beat last week by Forest. That's what cost us all the money.
They both had West Ham?
No, that was last week's, Paul. So this week...
They haven't picked yet?
No, not
yet.
Oh,
okay, that's fair enough. So just let you know, 211 of 383 have gone through. What's interesting, the ladies are still going strong, and always good to see the ladies running through. There's 17 of them. Kelly Potts, Michelle Tovey, Montana Werners, Tennille Werners, Janice Lafferty, Holly Lafferty, Natalie Dorego, right? Renee Roche always in there. Trace Nell, is that it? Or Tracy?
Wife,
Marilyn Giorgio, Melissa Borenser, Yvonne Borenser, Ashley Berger, Catherine Armstrong, she's always concerned, Julie Usher, Blair Miller, and Harriet Snowman. 17 left.
17, Paul, ladies started off with 35, so half left, so
looking at the boys that are still in from my mates in UK. Mark Aboud's still going.
Impossible, Paul, but I'm surprised he never picked Liverpool, but we'll see this week.
Charlie Pigram Spurs and Derek Ramsey in Wales. They're still going. Early tote favourites. I like this, Budge. Mark Curry and Rion Diaga.
Oh, Paul, 100% on both weeks. So good luck to them.
Good luck to them. Okay. Picks of the round. Sean Singleton wins it with Brentford.
Yeah, I know.
Who did Brentford play?
I don't know. 4-0 Man United. Great pick. I was going to text him and say, you're sure about your last selection? But Sean, he's
in. So Brentford on he rolls. And a special mention for reaching round 3. These are the guys who normally go missing. Garth Whitehead.
Impossible, Paul. Second time since we've started.
Roger Laveau. Basil Muir. Grandpa Pazane. Poisey, Selwyn Elk, still going on Selwyn. Sonny Bill Dutoy, Tabani Bayela, Andy Keane, Tubby Luckin.
Tubby sneaked in,
And Robbie
Tellin.
So that's it, and that's the story. On to this week. Starts Saturday.
Saturday, Paul, lunchtime kickoff, Spurs.
The hoodoo kickoff time.
Yeah, lunchtime.
Have we got Steve and B about?
Yep. Morning, Steve. How you going?
I'm fine, thanks, guys.
All right. That picture we had with you and Mark Aboud, I'd like the guys to put it up, because Liverpool haven't won a game since we put that clip on the show. So hopefully it'll continue this weekend.
Yeah, he always tells me that I jinxed them, and I obviously did. So.
Don't worry about that. Hope you jinx them this week.
This could be the week Man United raise their game in another draw.
Yeah. Steve, talking about Man United, Jim Ratcliffe, or Sir Jim Ratcliffe, reported to be looking to buy them. Is it a percentage or complete takeover?
Well, I think, bearing in mind that, how wealthy he is, I don't think he would be interested in just buying a small stake unless there was an option to buy the club.
Yeah.
So, but this could be this could be quite serious. He's Manchester born and bred, although by his own admission, when he lived in London, he used to watch Chelsea, and he can afford it. He's very he's invested in a number of sporting teams, including Nice. Who are sort of splashing out a little bit in France, and I think that if the Glazers are looking to sell, it's a very serious contender, and I think one that you'd think that the United fans would probably welcome.
Yeah, it's still not going to help the buying of mediocre players, but Steve, the main issue over the weekend, well, in my opinion, was the fight at Stamford Bridge. Tottenham Chelsea managers. Brilliant. I think there was more action on the sideline than on the pitch, especially. What did you think of it, or what's come out of it?
Well, apart from the fact that obviously they were both sent off, so they'll be in the stands for at least the next game. Look, they're both passionate. There was obviously a bit of needle going on during the game, and Tottenham scored. Conte sort of ran up and down the touchline. Tuchel did the same after Chelsea took the lead. And at the end, when I went to shake hands, Tuchel got upset because he said Conte didn't look at him when they shook hands, and then everybody else joined in. I think they both played it down afterwards. They're both passionate, and maybe the fans want to see that. So much ado about nothing really at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was actually funny watching all the players are laughing and joking with each other, and the managers are going at it. Steve, the other thing was Monday night, the red card for Darwin Núñez. Totally justified. It was amazing looking at Klopp's face. It looked like he'd seen a ghost.
Yeah. Well, it was crazy because he was obviously being wound up a little bit, but and it got the reaction that Anderson thought. But it was right in front of the referee. The referee had absolutely no choice but to send him off. And it's 3 games out. Klopp obviously is not happy, and he's come out and apologised, Núñez, but he's got to curb his temper. This is so it's a lesson for him. Just when Liverpool looked as if they've found a new player who can score goals, he's going to be missing in action for 3 matches.
Yeah, no, that's true, especially with Monday night's big game. Steve, United's obviously embarrassing 4-0 defeat at Brentford. To me, it took the highlight of a superb Brentford performance. What are the rumblings going on in the UK? Is there another march planned, or these mad supporters?
I don't know. I mean, it was a terrible performance, and it's interesting that Ten Hag had them back in training the next day, and he made them go on an 8-mile run because basically the stats showed that they ran collectively nearly 14 kilometres less than the Brentford players. And I think one thing that is unforgivable if you lose is not to put the effort in, and I think he just felt that they just that they were second best all over the pitch, and it was a humbling first half performance. It's probably as bad as you've seen in many a year, I think. So they've got to find a way. Look, the question now is Ronaldo going to go, and I suspect the answer to that is yes, if anybody's out there interested that wants to take him. Because obviously it's being very disruptive, but they're struggling to bring players in. They're being linked with all sorts of players, but clubs know they're desperate now, so they can just ask whatever they want. It's not a happy share.
That's true. Steve, just changing tack to the championship. The Coventry-Huddersfield game has been postponed. It's I think it's the 3rd home game.
Third game. Yeah.
Are there any points deductions or anything going to happen? Because these delays.
That's very interesting because in a way it's not Coventry's fault because they don't own their own ground. The Ricoh Arena was used for the Commonwealth Games for the rugby, and you think right at the beginning of the season, the last thing you want is something to damage the pitch, which has happened. So they now find themselves bottom of the table, and will be 3 games behind everybody else come the weekend. It's not an acceptable state of affairs. We'll see this. So I don't know whether or not they could be punished. It might be unfair on them, but the bottom line is it's not fair on the other teams that are supposed to be playing them either.
Just let you know, Steve, that Spurs bought their 7th player, the 7th signing, a guy called Destiny Udogie, who's getting loaned back to Udinese. So, we bought Jed Spence, Clement Lenglet, Yves Basima, Richarlison, Perisic and Foster, and now 7th one. So he's really been out there spending our Spurs boys.
He is. What's interesting, though, he hasn't really started with them. When you look at the starting 11, they've pretty much been last year's team. I guess it'll take a little while before he starts to integrate them. Whether Richarlison will probably be itching to play. But and he may change 1 or 2 because I thought you yourself probably they were pretty poor in the first half. They never got into the game.
Completely,
the formation was wrong. No, the better side drew.
He's going to change it a bit.
He'll change it, guaranteed. Steve, you're going to go on to the betting for the weekend, and lunchtime kickoff is Tottenham Wolves. The lunchtime kickoff has proved a bit of a bogey over the years. We've got the odds that'll come up. Spurs too good for Wolves?
You would think they would be. Disappointing at Chelsea. They got away at the end with a draw. You'd expect them to win. Wolves have just spent another close to 40 million during the week
Yeah,
on a Portuguese player from Sporting. You know, they huffed and puffed against Fulham. They had their chances, but only actually had one shot on target. So I think that Tottenham have got more about them. I would be surprised if Tottenham don't win that.
Yeah, comfortable victory. The next game should be a good game. I was impressed with Crystal Palace, tactically and obviously fitness-wise, especially earlier at Anfield. Aston Villa, I thought they were hanging on for dear life against Everton. I don't see Crystal Palace getting beat. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that Palace will probably want to, step up after. They got a very good point, as we say, on Monday. I think they might be a little bit too strong for Villa. I think you're right. I mean, Villa didn't play particularly well. Hanging on a bit in the last half hour, weren't very good away at Bournemouth. I'm not sure about Villa yet. They brought players in, but I think Vieira will get a tune out of Palace, and I think that they might just edge it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I'm all over Everton to beat Forest. We had a couple of nice bets to come with West Ham. How they never won, I don't know. Now that West Ham look a yard slow. I don't know if they've had a dodgy pre-season, but I wasn't impressed with Forest. I think Everton at 9 to 10's a bet. Steve, what's your call on it?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Frank Lampard's desperate to get that first win. Forest were a little bit fortunate to get that win. West Ham did enough to have got a point. Obviously missed a penalty, and I think. But we know with Forest they just bought their 15th or 16th player in this week. There are a lot. It's hard to integrate that many. So I think if Everton want to get off the mark, this is an opportunity. I think it will be close.
Yeah.
But Everton's problem is finding someone to score goals, and that's their issue. So I think their defence are certainly going to be more solid this year. With Cody and Tarkowski, but it's scoring goals. If they could get one or two, I think they'll win on Saturday.
Did they re-sign that midfield player, Idrissa Gueye from PSG? Has that gone through?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to go through. I'm not sure it's actually gone through yet, but they're strengthening, and it does look like Dele Alli will leave. I don't think it looks like he's going to figure in Frank Lampard's plans.
Yeah.
Which just shows how he's fallen really from where he was. But it's a shame because so much talent, but there's something wrong there. But Paul would know.
He's gone backwards. Poor bastard. He's a young man still.
Yeah, rumour has it he's maybe going to Turkey, so good luck if that's the case. Now, Steve, big game for you over the weekend. Fulham, Brentford. I know it's been a championship game, a few big games. How do you think it'll go? Because Brentford have got to come and cock a hoop after last week.
Yeah, no, well, Brent will be. We actually have a shocking record at home to Brentford. We've beaten them like once in 40 years at home. We won there a few times, but at home we struggled to beat. We won the last few. A draw wouldn't be the worst result. We're still integrating new players into the team. I don't know whether he'll change it a little bit. Obviously, we brought Diop in from West Ham. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if he gives him his debut. I think it'll be quite tricky for us to win. I think that we'll have to score at least a couple of goals to do that. I think it's, for me, I fancy a draw more than anything else.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. Well, let's hope, Steve. Very tough to beat Brentford, especially after their start to the season.
Yeah.
Now, exactly. Brentford's first game was they drew 2-2 at Leicester. I watched Leicester against Arsenal last week because Arsenal my tip in the competition I enter. I think Leicester certainties. I can't have Southampton. They conceded well. They do score though. But I just think as long as they don't lose many players for Farner and co this week, I think 8 to 10 Leicester is a good thing, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, they still have a strong model. We know that a number of their key players have been linked with other teams, which is obviously a bit distracting, but I think at home should be too strong. Everton, I thought they did well to come back last week against Leeds.
Yeah.
But like 2 down, they really could have fallen away. But I think, as you say, they concede goals, and I think Leicester will score at least one more than them.
Yeah, I think Leicester, good things. On to our second page, we've got Bournemouth against Arsenal. Every Arsenal fan that I see is cock a hoop, and quite rightly so. They've played well. A little bit dodgy at the back, in my opinion. But 4-10 to beat Arsenal is short, but they should win, shouldn't they, Steve?
I would have thought. I mean, Bournemouth had a very good result first up, but obviously went, back to form, as it were, at City. I think Arsenal will go there thinking that, this is an opportunity for them to extend their winning run, and I fancy them to do that.
Yeah, 4-10 is short, but you'd expect him to get a result. Now, Chelsea, who were woeful, in my opinion, against Everton, but they were far better the second game at home against Spurs.
Yeah.
Leeds United had a good start, 4 points from the first 2 games, Steve. Do you see them putting up a fight, or do you think Chelsea will roll them over?
No, I think Leeds will put up a fight. I think that Rodrigo has got his goal-scoring boots on, and I think they will be buoyed by their 2 performances. But I think if Chelsea play as they did in the first half particularly, I think they'd probably be a little bit too strong for Leeds. I thought Chelsea played, whether it was Tottenham or off their game, but I thought Chelsea played very well last week. Did enough to win, and I think they'll be too strong for Leeds.
Yeah, I must say, really impressed with how they played. I think Spurs conceded the midfield, which made them look better than what they were.
Yeah.
And the moment the Spurs brought a couple of players on that got stuck in, the game changed. But be interesting. But Leeds will be fired up with that passionate crowd. But I agree, it should be Chelsea. Yeah. Now, to me, they've got the betting the wrong way around, Steve. West Ham 13-10, Brighton 22-10. Brighton should have beat Newcastle. I didn't watch the game, but saw the highlights. 22-10, I think, is a fair bet. It's my value bet of the weekend. I can't have West Ham. I know they'll improve, and they play Thursday night in the Europa League. I don't like what I see with West Ham. The big striker, Mikel Antonio, he looks way off the pace, and without him, I think they're going to struggle. How do you see it, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton have really started well, and as having watched the highlights, they probably should have beaten Newcastle. Yeah. I agree. I'd be surprised that he doesn't start with Skimmerker.
Yeah.
He's paid 30 million, with a view to playing him. So I'd be surprised. They were disappointing in both their games, West Ham, and I think you're right. I think the betting looks a little bit the wrong way round, and I'd be surprised if Brighton don't get at least a point there.
Went through overnight. They bought a defender.
Yeah, French defender. Yeah,
French defender. Yeah.
Another Frenchman. We bought Varane. He can't get a game in our back four. I don't know how, but anyway. But yeah, one thing about David Moyes, he loves these lesser bars that he tends to improve on. Now the next game, Newcastle at home, great home record. I think only Liverpool's beaten them there in like the last 10 or 12. Can they take a point off Man City?
Well, look, I mean, they could do. They have in the past, but I just think City should be too strong. Very interesting is that after the first game, everyone was raving about Haaland. He hardly touched the ball. He only had 8 touches of the ball, which was the second lowest in the history of the Premier League. So I think they need to get the ball to him for him to do some damage. I think that's going to be a really close game, but I think City might just edge it.
Steve, I've watched a few times now our man Haaland. If a team sits way back, the through ball doesn't become an option anymore, and that's his strength. He's got the pace of a racehorse. So I saw it in their last game. There was nothing coming through to him because they just sat back and soaked it up. And so Newcastle might do that, which will nullify Haaland. We'll have to see how good he is when people suss him out.
Yeah, this thing you've got to get into. And the one thing he does do, he rolls you to his right, which goes on his left foot.
Yes.
And the moment when it's on his left foot, he's a threat. If you show him the other way, you limit his options. But they'll work that out. But I think this is a good game. Newcastle, if they had a midweek game, Champions League game, Man City, I think you had a chance to sneak in a point or two.
Yeah,
but, having the week to prepare, they'll be nice and fresh. It's hard to look past
a good
City
side,
win.
City.
Yeah,
very good side.
Last but not least, unfortunately, I can't believe Man United were close on 7-1 before Liverpool drew with Palace on Monday. It's now shortened. I cannot have Man United, as much as my team. If you gave me money to put on them, I can't have them. Liverpool, I know they've got 1 or 2 problems, but I think Firmino will be back. I think 6-10 Liverpool.
I think Liverpool
is a good bet, Steve.
I think that's right. It's always a derby, though.
Give me hope,
Joanna.
What fun matter?
The truth is, in it's a huge game. There's obviously a lot of passion. The United fans are going to expect nothing less than 100% effort, and it might be that they obviously have to raise their game, and it's quite feasible that they could hold Liverpool because of the passion of the fixture. But otherwise, if they put in anything like the performance they did last week, then Liverpool will win that.
Yeah, I thought we'd do the same thing last year at Old Trafford, and we were 5-0 down at half-time. But, Steve, we live in hope. I totally agree. This is redemption for those Man United players. It couldn't have come at a better time. Liverpool are struggling. When you see Milner starting, with all due respects to him, you know they've got a problem. And at the I can't believe the centre-halves are injured again.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I don't know how United are going to score unless we get a penalty or something like that. But we live in hope, Steve, but I just cannot have Man United at any price. Anyway, on to the championship. There were several games played over the weekend, but a good Friday night game, Steve. Norwich versus Millwall. And Norwich got back to winning ways at midweek. I think they'll beat Millwall. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think so. It was a good performance. In the end, it looked better than it was, but they dominated. Millwall did very well. They got 2 goals pretty much in injury time, having been sort of under the cosh. But I think Norwich, having got their first win, I think they'll win that.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's on Friday night. Yeah, I like 9 to 10.
Friday night, will we get it? ESPN.
Yeah, so reportedly it's on. Now the Saturday lunchtime kickoff, Birmingham-Wigan. This should be a thriller, Steve. 2 teams that struggling to score goals. Unfortunately for Wigan, the game at Coventry was called off in midweek. Will that give them an advantage, do you think?
I'm not sure. I think at this stage of the season, I think teams want to play, because it's about sort of match fitness as well.
Yeah.
Birmingham have got a good point during the week. Supposed to play very well against Watford. I fancy Birmingham to win that.
Oh, okay. I see Troy Deeney led them out on the pitch against his old Watford club, so that was good. Yeah. Now, Burnley, you can't buy a win after their first win. They drew again with Hull in midweek. I watched Blackpool against QPR.
Sorry, did they not compete 1-0?
Who was that?
Burnley.
Burnley drew 1-1 with Hull City. But Blackpool beat QPR 1-0. I mean, Neil Horsman was at the game. Bar 20 minutes that they played well, QPR. Blackpool played well. They're a funny team. The left-footed guy scored a good goal. I don't see Burnley losing this. How do you see it?
It's a bit of a derby. I think Blackpool, you're talking about Josh Bowler, who a lot of teams are looking at him. I'm surprised the team hasn't come in for him. I saw him play at Fulham last year. He scored their goal, looked very good. I think Burnley was supposed to have been unlucky. Could have won it the other night. I think they'll dance as favourite. But Blackpool, as you say, are a funny team. A hard team to beat. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold Burnley. Burnley might just edge it.
Yeah. Totally agree. Now, Coventry was going to be my bet of the weekend against Huddersfield Town, but the game's been called off to a pitch problem again, so that's the end. And I've got a few bets in our Budgies bets, so I'm obviously going to have to change that. But hopefully next week they get the pitch sorted out. Going to go on to our next slide, which the game up is Preston-Watford. Can my boys upset Watford?
Can you score a goal?
I think that's the point, isn't it? The one thing they are doing is they're not conceding.
Yeah.
They've got probably the best defensive record in the league. By all accounts, they should have won comfortably the other night. Preston had a hatful of chances and couldn't quite convert them. Yeah. I think of the two, I think the betting to me is slightly the wrong way around. I think Preston should start as favourites.
Yeah, apparently we missed a hatful of chances. I asked my other 2 contacts that are there, and I asked them whether how Troy Parrott's been playing, and both of them said outstanding player, but he just doesn't score goals.
Yeah.
So.
It's a step up. He was at MK Dons last year.
Yes.
So it is a step up. And I think that he will score a few, but.
Yeah.
I think there's obviously pressure on him.
Yeah.
You got obviously still got Reece, presumably.
Yeah, so, he may be going to middle.
Who was the top scorer? So look, I think a tight game. You can't see there being many goals.
Yeah.
You think one goal could win this either way, but I think Preston of the two might start as just possibly as favourites. points.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because I said, Paul, Troy Parrott, the fans love him.
Yeah.
He says work rate, his movement is outstanding. Yeah. He's just struggling to hit the ball. He's hitting the target. He's just hitting the goalkeeper. But anyway, what can we do? We just got to get on with it. At least he's an improvement on what we had. Now, QPR Rotherham. Disappointed in QPR in midweek while Rotherham hung on for a point at Preston. I don't see QPR getting beat, Steve. How do you see it?
No, Rotherham don't travel well, although last week they had an incredible 4-0 win, 4 goals in the first half. Again, as you say, Preston probably should have beaten them. I think QPR won't come unstuck 2 matches in a row, but and I think QPR will edge it, but no, I think that it's going to be a very up and down season for both those teams.
Yeah, it's just QPR, great chances. Listen, it was a good goal, the Blackpool guy, and they just never looked like scoring. Now, Reading, who upset tabletoppers Blackburn last night, 3-0. Yeah. Middlesbrough 2-2 at Stoke City. They conceded late. 5-2 is a big price, even though I don't see Middlesbrough losing. That's a big price, the home team, Steve. 5-2.
I think so. I think there's a bit of value there. It was evidently it was a very good performance last night. Reading, they had, they conceded possession, but they had all the chances. Yeah. And I think that at home they've had 2 good wins. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they edge that.
Okay, Sheffield United. I watched them last night, Steve, against Sunderland. It amazes me. These guys are playing out from the back. The 2 centre halves split, and the midfield player drops in. He loses the ball, and then he fouls the guy, and he gets sent off after 30 minutes. They got beat. Sheffield United, I thought, okay, obviously with 10 men, they were the better side. Another game, Steve, I can't believe this betting. I think the betting, it should be a lot closer. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they'll be favourite, Sheffield United. Yeah. I think without doubt, they made hard work of it. I saw the highlights. I mean, 2-0 up against 10 men, you'd expect them to sort of cruised it, and in the end, to the Sunderland got a goal back. But you can't get a player sent off after half an hour and expect to get anything at Bramall Lane. So, but I think Sheffield United should definitely start as favourites the weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens. On to our next page, where we've got Stoke City against Sunderland. Stoke City, was it the Bet365? It was Pataudry. Yeah. Always hard to beat there. Sunderland, they just looked a little bit light, but in saying that, they played with 10 men, showed great character. I don't see Stoke City getting beat. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think I could see another high-scoring draw here. They both score goals. Stoke is strong at home. Don't lose many. Yet Sunderland have been involved in, there've been goals in all their games. They were very unlucky last weekend, Sunderland, to concede an injury time header from QPR's goalkeeper. Otherwise, they'd be sort of further up the table. But so I can see this sort of being, sharing 4 goals possibly. I think it's one of those games. Yeah,
I saw 9-10 both teams to score. Sunderland every week, you just go for that bet. Now, Swansea City, 2-2 against Millwall. They were 2-0 up, conceded 2 late. Luton Town, by all reports from my Preston mates, they said they totally outplayed Preston, bar that brilliant volley from Rees. I was disappointed that they got beat 2-0 at Bristol City. Apparently they got well beat. Can you see them rebounding?
Well, for a team that finished so well last year and strengthened, very disappointing, without a win this season. Yeah. Swansea, should have won from all accounts, and the highlights against Millwall had most of the game. I think, I'd be surprised if Swansea don't win that, but, Luton are going to have to get a result from somewhere soon because they've really started slowly. So I think, personally, I think Swansea should just edge it.
Yeah, have Luton lost many players? It didn't look like it when I compared the teams from...
That's the whole point. But actually, on paper, they're strengthened. But for whatever reason, sometimes it's, as you say, you get this second season. Second off, they had such a good season last season, and maybe expectations a little bit high. Bearing in mind, they have a much lower budget than majority of the teams around, in the championship.
Yeah, they surprised me when the first game they drew at home with Birmingham. Then they went to Burnley and got a good result. So, as you say, the championship, they're one of those problematic teams, especially for punters. Now, West Brom, I fancied them last night, 0-0 at home against Cardiff City. Drew 1-1 at home against Watford prior to that. They don't look like they're firing. Hull City, on the other hand, going great. Drew at Burnley in midweek, drew at Preston away from home. I just don't know, 48-10, I know is a big price, Steve, and while I don't fancy them, I think there's goals in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's been part of West Brom's problem, surprisingly. They bought in players like John Swift, and they're not scoring goals. I am surprised. I think a lot of people fancied West Brom to be there or thereabouts in the top 3 of the table, and here they are, sort of struggling a little bit. Hull, as we know, have brought in a number of players, and they've started well. Sitting there with 2 wins and 2 draws. I can see Hull going there and getting a point. Yeah. So just to add to see Bruce's woes, I can see West Brom not winning again.
Yeah, just strange. I watched them against Middlesbrough in the first game. They really impressed me. But at home, you just never know. Teams don't push out. But anyway, 6-10, I think is a bit short. Even though I think they should win. Now, last but not least, Sunday game. I love watching Bristol City. They've been on twice. Kamikaze team. I see the manager who got Leicester promoted, Pearson. He was cocky, having a go, saying there should be VAR in the championship. And to be honest, I fancy, he's totally right, there should be. As much as we let it go on, I agree. There's too many decisions that they're missing.
Cost teams.
Can they beat Cardiff, Steve? I know there'll be goals. There's always goals with Bristol City. How do you see the Sunday game going?
There's a lot of local rivalry there.
Yeah.
In fact, Nigel Pearson was on record. He'd probably get fined for it, but he was criticising the referee and the standard of refereeing the championship. He didn't hold back the other day when he was being interviewed. I think Bristol City will start as favourites. They've got goals in them. Obviously, you've got sort of Andre Weinman and they do score goals. But Cardiff, have started reasonably. They've not set the division alight, but they've started reasonably. So I think, for me, again, this is one that could go either way. But I think of the two, I'd probably just err on the side of the home team.
All right. Steve, pressure time again.
Best bets.
Best bet and value bet, Steve.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Norwich. I think that now they've got off the mark. I think they're going to be too strong at home. And value, I was torn between a couple, but I think I'm going to go for Reading. I think 5-2 at home. They won both their home games, looked very strong last night. I'll go for them at home.
All right, Steve, and good luck with your Fulham team. When are you going to Madeira?
22nd of September. So
plenty of time.
I'm only I'm away for one show, but I could do that because we're on the same time zone.
Yeah, all right.
Should be fine.
So just phone us when you get to the Cristiano Ronaldo Airport in Madeira.
I know. and he's, we're not staying there, but he owns at least one hotel there as well.
Oh, okay.
So,
all the best with the cricket, Steve. Steve, all the best with the cricket.
Yeah, the cricket. Yeah, I forgot all about the cricket. To remind me. All right, have a good week.
All the
Cheers,
best,
Steve. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Budge, on we go. Always good to talk to Steve. PSL, the midweek fix. Just having a look. Cape Town City,
can't score, Paul. Chance after
that.
chance. Just can't score. Yeah, it's sad.
And Royal AM
got beat last night. Was it Mozambique? Pirates beat them 1-0. So tight game, but Pirates just don't score many, Paul. Hard to beat, but.
All right, let's look at the fixtures, Budge. Tell me where you're going with these fixtures.
Paul, the first game up is it's the Swallows game.
We get round
PSL,
to it. But we'll talk about it while they dig
Paul,
it out.
I saw Dylan Kerr on Sunday. I went to go and watch chat with him for a while. And just mentioned last year that how bad his team looked in the relegation battle.
Yes.
He said he's so happy with the team. They said Swallows are playing great.
Yeah,
and
they won 3-2 the other day.
Yeah, they won 3-2. It's the best PSL game I've seen for years. But AmaZulu beat Cape Town City. Paul, they're 1-0 down. The goal that they scored. Paul, this should be a good game. If I can't watch it, I'll tape it. It'll be on. Paul, there should be goals in this. And AmaZulu like to sit, but they've signed Mahanga from Wits, or the old Wits player who was with Pirates last year. I like what I see from both teams, Paul.
Okay.
So 12-10, both teams to score. That's my selection or suggestion in that game.
Okay, arrows?
I can't have arrows, Paul.
9-10.
Yeah, TS Galaxy beat Swallows. They've taken beat Sundowns. They've taken a couple of their players too. Bernard Parker's come over from Chiefs, but they've taken a few of the Sundowns players. They're good to watch, Paul. I don't see them getting. They're 9-10 with a one-goal
would they
start.
play this
They'll
game?
be playing this game. Well, it's normally at Sugar Ray Stadium in Claremont, or they may play it at in KwaMashu.
Okay.
So you just never know when they finalise that. But a draw in TS Galaxy from where there, Paul. Golden Arrows have started off the season badly. Can't go against Sundowns, Paul. 3 o'clock kickoff. They destroyed Chiefs last week.
Perennially
Good team.
top side,
Yeah, quality, Paul. They signed more players than most teams have got in their squad. They've got 2 squads.
Yeah.
But the league's got to do
Cape
something
Derby,
like that.
Budge?
Paul, Cape Town City, they're going to crack somebody. But they just can't score goals at the moment, and the chances that they're missing is frightening. Steve Barker's done a good job at Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
So a draw is obviously a player. Yeah, we went both teams to score 12-10. You know, the local derbies, Paul, everyone has a go.
Yeah.
So a draw and goals for me in that particular fixture.
Right.
Kaiser Chiefs, Richards Bay. You know, Chiefs cock a hoop after they beat Maritzburg, but Sundowns brought them down to earth. But Paul, 9-10 is a big price. Richards Bay have started off well, but they're playing in Mlazi where the pitch is bumpy, which has suited them. I think 9-10.
Where did Richards Bay pay out of?
Well, their stadium in Richards Bay isn't PSL worthy, so they're playing out of Mlazi.
Okay.
But that pitch is woeful, it's bumpy, but I fancy Chiefs. 9-10 I think is a big price. Maritzburg, Paul, you never know. Chipper United beat Pirates last Sunday. Couldn't believe it. I thought Pirates would roll them. But Dane Clate done well there, so let's see. But a draw, I don't see Maritzburg losing Andy Kuala.
Yeah.
So a draw, Maritzburg in the draw for me there. Royal AM, I like them, Paul. I know they got beat last night by Pirates. That's the Chatsworth side. I think they'll beat Maruma Gallets. Maruma Gallets don't score.
Me too. Royal AM, good things.
Royal AM 9-10. And Super Sport, Paul, Pirates, good result last night, but they don't put teams away. I watched them against Stellenbosch.
They got 1-0 last night.
1-0, you can't keep winning 1-0 because when you don't score, you got a problem. But they're 4th in the league. They're going well, the Bucks. But Gavin's going to have to sort something out at Super Sport because they're conceding too many goals. They lost their goalkeeper to Sundowns.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. But I don't see Pirates getting beat there, Paul.
All right, but let's talk about your soccer picks.
Yeah, Paul, this is our one. It's called the Score 6 now, the Gold Circle one.
Excellent.
So,
Score 6.
So Premiership one we've done. So I'm bankering Spurs to beat Wolves. I've gone the field in the Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Everton, Notts Forest, and Fulham, Brentford games. Because I'm bankering Leicester to beat Southampton, and I think Arsenal beat Bournemouth 162.
I think you look solid there.
Looks good. Well, take a chance.
It's a pick 3, basically.
It's hopefully, yeah. Pull on to the other soccer 6. I'm going the field in the Arrows TS Galaxy game. I'm banking Sundowns to beat Sekhukhune United. I'm going the field in the Crystal Palace Aston Villa game. I'm chancing Cape Town City to beat Stellenbosch. And I'm going Chiefs throwing the draw in against Richards Bay and Maritzburg win and draw home against Chipper United 2-1-6.
Okay.
On to score 10. It's a Gold Circle one.
Nice.
I'm going bankering Tottenham to beat Wolves. I'm going Crystal Palace, excuse me, win and draw at home against Aston Villa, as well as Everton, win and draw at home against Notts Forest. I'm going the field in the Fulham versus Brentford match, banking Leicester City to be too good at home against Southampton. On to our second page, I'm going Burnley, win and draw in the local derby against Blackpool. I'm going the field in the Preston North End Watford fixture, banking Arsenal to beat Bournemouth, Inter Milan to beat Spezia, and I've thrown the draw in with Real Madrid at Celta Vigo 288. On to the soccer 13, I'm banking Arsenal to beat Bournemouth, Crystal Palace win and draw at home against Aston Villa, chancing Everton to beat Notts Forest. Going the field in the Fulham Brentford game. I'm going Leicester, banker to be too good at home against Southampton, as well as Burnley, win and draw at home against Blackpool. Now, waiting for the Coventry City game. It's a draw allotment, Paul, so I'll let everybody know. 15 balls go into a computer and they have a draw for the postponed games.
Oh, so
it's not like ours, no. Because the
okay.
Swedes control it, so I'm waiting for the allotment. I'll let everybody know what that is. But at the moment, I've gone Coventry City 1 and 2 against Huddersfield.
When did they tell you which one gets
well,
the
I'm
result?
hoping it's Friday because it's an early postponement.
Okay.
So then we can let everybody know. Second page, I'm going the field in the Preston North End Watford match. I'm banking Queen's Park Rangers to beat Rotherham United. Chancing Middlesbrough to win at Reading. Going Stoke City win and draw at home against Sunderland. Chancing Blackburn Rovers to avoid defeat at Sheffield United. And I'm going for West Brom win to be too good at home for Hull City. 256. Paul, really difficult, but you know, we've got to try, yeah.
All right, my favourite page, but
Yeah,
give me your reasoning.
Budgie's bets. Paul, I'm going Tottenham to win by more than 1 goal at home against Wolves. I know it's an early kickoff. I don't like what I see from Wolves, and I like what I see from Spurs, so that's the way we're going. And I'm going Leicester City to beat Southampton and both teams to score. Leicester can't keep a clean sheet, and with Ward-Prowse are always capable. And I'm going for Everton to beat Notts Forest at 9-10, Paul. So 2,400 to 200 is our play. Premiership. Teams to score, all these teams to score over 1.5 goals or a minimum of 2. I'm going Everton, Leicester City, Chelsea, and I've thrown in Brighton at a price. They were like 18-10. I think they'll score a couple against West Ham.
Yeah.
2,600 to 200. Onto the Championship, which I'm now going to have to alter because I've gone Norwich City to beat Millwall. I went Coventry City to beat Huddersfield, but that game's been postponed. And I've gone West Brom to beat Hull City and both teams to score. I'll have to find another team, but the bet will be around about the same price, Paul. The Championship, both teams to score games are Burnley Blackpool, Sheffield United Blackburn, Stoke City Sunderland, and Bristol City Cardiff, 2,200 to 200.
Okay.
Onto the PSL, I'm going Royal AM to beat Maruma Gallants. I'm going TS Galaxy. It's basically win a draw, Paul, but the odds are better. I've gone with a +1 handicap. So that's, I think, 9-10, where the win and draw is 8-10. So we get a goal start. So if it is a draw, we collect. That's
Lovely.
TS Galaxy against Golden Arrows. And I'm going both teams to score, and the Swallows, Amazulu. Cape Town City Stellenbosch games, 3,300 to 200. And our Collis King, soccer
6
6.
or nix.
I'm hoping the lunchtime kickoff doesn't snare us. I'm going Tottenham to beat Wolves, Leicester to beat Southampton, Arsenal to beat Bournemouth. Unfortunately, I picked Coventry, so I'm going to have to alter that. I'm going Barcelona at 11-10 to win at Real Sociedad, and Bayern Munich to beat Bochum, 3,500 to 200.
Excellent, that's good. Another good weekend's football.
Yeah, Paul,
bunch.
you know, at least the good thing is weekends where the main games are. It's hard when it's midweek Saturday because the odds alter, and it's hard to watch at midnight and so on, Paul. So I enjoy the cup games at midweek, league games on the weekend, and then we fine.
Excellent. Well, there we go. Until next time, stay on side.